Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Zero Project Conference in Vienna. My name is Evert-Jan Hoogeweg, and I'm the Secretary General of the European Association for the Advancement of Assistive Technology, the host of this session. Today we're going to talk about digital skills, the digital skills of people that work in work integration, social enterprises, but not only the people with disabilities that work there, but also the staff that supports them. And we will also address the topic of assistive technology, and that's the reason why basically we were so interested in organizing this session together here. I have three guests where I'm going to discuss the topic with, and that's Evangelia Andreadi, from Margherita Center in Greece, Noemi Marchiotto from AIAS Bologna in Italy, and Javier Güemes from the Fundación ONS in Spain. And Javier is also the Vice President of the European Association of Service Providers for Persons with Disabilities. What these three organizations that they represent have in common is that these organizations all signed the BWise Alliance. And the BWise Alliance is a sector skills alliance that came out of the BWise project. And that project has as its aim to strengthen the situation of work integration social enterprises in Europe. And the whole topics that was addressed in the project related to the development of digital skills and assistive technology related skills. Enough as an introduction. Evangelia, may I start with you? What are the main lessons that your organization has learned about when it comes to the development of digital skills of workers with disabilities, both in your center and in the project?
Okay, so for Greece, the participants in the BWise project were both service providers for people with neurodevelopmental disorders and social cooperatives for people with mental health disorders. And the results were quite similar from both of these two categories. The stakeholders asked and they also got involved in the projects were the managers, the professional supporters, and the beneficiaries, the service users of these organizations. So the use of technology in these organizations in Greece is mainly in a very basic operational everyday level. The service users, mainly in the social cooperatives, because they're also older in age, are not very interested in using technology. They prefer to have manual jobs, and according to each specific job, they can have a bit more developed equipment or not. And but in general, they're not very interested in technology. COVID-19 helped because it made the communication platforms more mainstream, like Zoom or Teams or applications for communication mainly. But this is the basic level of skills.
Thank you, Evangelia. Over to you, Noemi. Very often having good digital skills is not enough when it comes to the integration of a worker in an environment. Assistive technology might be needed or other types of reasonable accommodation. According to you, what are the gaps in knowledge and in skills that people outside the strict community of experts have around these type of reasonable accommodation solutions?
So I want to first mention the European research conducted by the BWise project, in which work integration and social enterprises were asked about the importance of ICT in their work context. The results shows that there is a strong resistance to the introduction of assistive technologies for workers with disabilities. More than 90% of the participant organizations state that they are not used in their work context, considering them irrelevant and not even a priority for their worker with disabilities. On the basis of this study, we can deduce that the need for reasonable accommodation and assistive technologies is generally not perceived by non-professionals, and the general knowledge of existing solution is low, especially when referring to the employment sector of people with a reduced ability to work. We can see a widespread failure to acknowledge the basic rights of people with disabilities, which is not only discriminatory, but a denial of their value and capabilities as workers. Often, employers don't simply hire without investing on the necessary environmental measures, without which people with disability remain connoted as seen only for their functional difficulties. At the AIS, we try to reduce this knowledge gap by organizing training sessions and events to raise awareness about it, aimed at different target groups, such as professionals, but also citizens, including people with disabilities and their families. We find it difficult to open a channel of communication with companies, but our goal is to build a stronger partnership with them to make more inclusive and accessible work environments.
Thank you, Noemi. Wow, that's a striking outcome, isn't it, of the survey? If the awareness of, even in the sector of work integration, self-organizations that support people with disabilities and entering into the job market is so low about the role of assistive technology and reasonable accommodation, then maybe we should do much more work there. Over to you, Javier, in Spain. How does your organization support the continuous development of the digital skills of the people that you support?
Well, thank you, Everjan. There are 4 elements that constitute our policy in this type of training. First of all, we believe in the necessity of defining participation and digital skills as an essential part of participation for persons with disabilities in society. The second is the force that of transformation of digital skills also in the employment opportunities of persons with disabilities. The third one is that we need to invest in the change of culture inside the organizations to make sure that trainings are also accessible for persons with disabilities, and that we need to also invest in the change of the culture on how all these trainings are accessible also for persons. 2 examples on our site. Por Talento digital talent, let's put it that way, in which we invest in a digital hub to make sure that persons with disabilities acquire digital skills to get engaged in the tech sector. And the second is IHO. IHO is an application that allows persons with disabilities to receive some pre-training before going and moving into the labor market. These 2 elements for us are essential, and this is why we are structured our input. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very interesting, Javier. Thank you. Back to you, Evangelia. You've heard what Javier's organization is doing. What are, according to you and Margarita, the most workable strategies to boost the digital skills development of people with disabilities, and what are the barriers, and how can we remove them?
Okay, so in Margarita, we operate in 2 levels. First, we have the pre-vocational level, where mainly beneficiaries, adolescents and young adults are there, and they are trained in a specific workshop about the enhancement of digital skills and communication. So they have a first contact with how to use the computer, how to manage social media and other platforms. They also participate in European projects. They co-create digital platforms. They produce podcasts, and they're very engaged with technology. Also, we operate in our supported employment department. We have a course dedicated to the development of digital skills of job seekers with neurodevelopmental disorders. We have developed a specific curriculum, again, with digital skills that are very useful in their everyday work in offices. And of course, we support beneficiaries in an individual level. For example, we have a beneficiary, Aris, that he's now working as a social media manager in one pharmaceutical company. And he of course, he had talent and a direction towards technology, but we work with him in a personal level in order to be better at his job.
Thank you, thank you. Noemi, I know that your center in Italy is leading on an important regional project on boosting the integration of people with disabilities into employment. I think it's called Lavorare in Rete, which means working in a network. My question for you would be, I mean, it's very much about supported employment, isn't it? So the supported employment as a theme is very central in that project. What are the lessons that you've learned so far when it comes to supported employment?
So we have learned that we have found greater employability results in the situation where the job coach is provided within an organization, and the job coach plays a central role in the supported employment model, as you said, and by facilitating the integration of the workers with disabilities at the workplace. A job coach also provides training to the managers and to the colleagues on how to make work environments and tasks more accessible to their workers. In this project, we also learn another important lesson about the importance to invest more resources in the transition phase from school to work. Especially in Italy, often young people with disability don't receive a proper orientation and training for work. And the risk is an ending up in a loop of eternless internship, which really turn into a real job. We believe it's necessary to build an individual life project that includes work as a fundamental aspect for an independent life. And starting well before that the young people finishes their school studies. To do this, service provider must support families and young people step by step to help them enter the open labor market.
Thank you, Noemi. So, Javier, the BeWise Alliance, which actually has as its aim to continue work for the upskilling and the reskilling of workers with disabilities, and the BeWise Alliance, actually all 4 of our organizations are part of that alliance. What can the Alliance do more to make sure that the message reaches the policy level, both at European and at national level?
Thank you, Verjan. I believe that we have crossed already the barrier of legislation. There is enough legislation in many places, still a lack of legislation in other areas, but still we have a good level of legislation. For us, there are 2 main elements that needs to be reinforced. Data. Data is important to measure our impact, but it's important also to create trust on our results. And I think it's the only way to approach policymakers is try to make sure that they trust our projects. And the second one is how to make an effective communication of the results. And this is why, for example, in IHO or in Portalento, we really make sure that we try to show the way and the results of reskilling and upskilling of persons with disabilities in the market.
Thank you. We're getting closer to the end of our session. I would like to thank you all very much for your presence here. And I'll grasp the opportunity of the last minute to promote the AAATE conference that we are organizing in Cyprus in September, 10 to 12 September. It's the conference, the biannual conference of the Association for the Advancement of Assistive Technology in Europe, We have a lot of scientific contributions, but there are also policy sessions, educational sessions, an innovation area. And we trust that a lot of the topics that have been discussed today here, so how to boost digital skills, how to make sure that assistive technology is actually used in all domains of life, will be addressed. We trust to see, to hope to see many of you there. The website is www.AAATE2025.eu. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you there. Bye-bye.